Hi guys, and welcome back to Adam's Aquatics. Today's Tuesday, so we have another vlog style video where I'm going to be going through the ins and outs of the fish room this week. Okay, so first thing this week is that I got rid of the Apistogramma Master Eye pair that I was housing in this cube, and I've replaced it with a Apistogramma Borellii Opal pair. This is the female here, and this is the male here. They've been with me for about 3 days now, and they've already started breeding behaviour. I've just done a water change on them today, and I've got some really nice high protein food, some brine shrimp down there to feed them tonight, so hopefully I should see some breeding behaviour in the next couple of days. So the next thing is the Apistogramma Black Chins tank. I've got a load of plants for it. They're currently not planted, they're just still in the pots, but he's really enjoying this new setup now with all of this Java fern and Amazon sword plant at the back there. There he is there. And yeah, it's a really nice setup now, really leafy, really nice. And we've been having some nice times just watching him. His female's in here now as well, and she is able to get away from him nice and easily because of all of the cover now. Now, I'm thinking that this is a species that needs to be in more than just a pair, just due to his aggression. So I'm going to be looking for some more females for this tank, possibly 2 more, so that there's 3 females and him, just to even out the aggression, because he's getting very aggressive towards the other fish in this tank. Again, nothing that's unusual with Apistos, so it's something that I'm kind of used to by now, but yeah, there she is there, and you've just seen him chase her around. No breeding behaviour yet. I think I'm going to have to drop the pH in this tank, so that's why I've got all of this spider wood here soaking, so that I can add this to try and help to drop the pH, as well as get some leaves in here and add some tannins to the water. That's the plan for these guys anyway, and then hopefully I'll see some breeding action. They're a really nice cool coloured Apisto, and the females are also really cool as well because they're more of a bluey grey rather than just a normal bland coloured fish. So my Apistogramma agazia, Percy and his female, and we've been seeing some really interesting breeding behaviour. Now, I was told that they're better off in trios because it helps to diffuse the aggression, but actually I've noticed that actually as a pair they're actually getting on really well, and she's able to fend him off if he becomes a bit too much, and she's starting to go nice and yellow now, which means I'm really sure that she's ready for breeding, and he definitely is ready for breeding. I've also been using the mirror trick to kind of help to manage his aggression, which has been working really well. So I also put a couple of these caves together this week. They're just 2 saucers for plant pots, which I've snapped a bit off with using a pair of pliers, and I've just stuck some Java fern to the top of it with some super glue. And actually the fish in this tank are really enjoying it. These are my 2 female Apistogramma aliaxis, if the camera will focus on them. There they are there. And they're really enjoying this as well, and they are using this front cave to hide from each other. You can still see that they're both females now, and we're waiting for a male to arrive. My local fish shop, Ely Exotics, is trying to sort that for me. We are after a bigger male, so we're definitely guaranteed to get a male this time, and that's kind of where we're at with these guys. So this week I've been really trying the mirror trick, something that I've not used before, or if I have used it, I've used it very sporadically, but I've been using it once a day now for 20 minutes in some of the tanks that I'm struggling to spawn, and it's really helping with their aggression, as well as help them spawn. Really useful trick. I'll show you that in a later video, but I just thought I'd let you guys know that that's kind of something that I've introduced into the fish room this week to try and help with breeding. So this is my Apistogramma Inca 50, or my Benchii tank. Kratos, he's just there, you've probably just seen him. I got a female for him last week, which you would have seen in Fish Room Thursdays, but he absolutely has smashed her to bits. So she's in this breeder box in this pipe at this present moment in time. I'm treating her with some salt to help with the wounds. She's hanging on in there. She's been in this breeder box now for 3 days. She's slowly building her strength back up, and I'm feeding her by hand with a tiny bit of brine shrimp per day to try and help get her back to full strength. Now again, I'm thinking that this is kind of an Apisto that needs to be in a trio, or at least have some dealer fish in there to kind of manage aggression. So this is something that I'm learning as I go. Now obviously I've dealt with some relatively easy and simple Apistogrammas before, obviously Masterai and the Cacatoides. Very easy, very simple, very light aggression, whereas now these guys, the aggression's a bit higher, and it's something that I'm obviously having to learn as I go through this process. So I really hope that you guys are enjoying this process with me and just following my journey along. So my Apistogramma McMasterai Gold Fry, some of them are starting to show some real colour, like this male that you're about to see, these two males that you're about to see come up to the front here. They're starting to show the nice red face, as you can see there, just like their dad. Really excited to see their colours come through. This is a really nice looking male. Hopefully the black bar in the middle of the body will go away. That's something that I'm really hoping, so that they'll have a nice white, nice red face and white body, just like their dad. Obviously their mum does have a black bar through the middle of her body, so that might stay. If not, then we're going to look for the best female within this group and breed her back with her dad. Now there's a nice white bodied female at the back that we're hoping is going to be the one, and then we will be line and breeding her with her dad in order to help to bring the line forward. Now these will be coming available in about 6 to 8 weeks. They need a little bit more growing out, and I want to see the colours really come through first before I am willing to move them on. So one thing I've obviously learned because of dealing with a lot of younger fish is that in order to get best quality, you need to grow them out a bit more than you would see at a fish shop, you know, and that's just something that obviously breeders abroad and stuff like that, they've tried to move them on as quick as possible, whereas, you know, here I'm lucky enough to have the luxury to be able to grow these guys on a little bit and make sure that I'm giving the best quality and be able to sex them, which is really important. You know, there's nothing worse than being told that you've got a pair of something and then they both turn out to be females, or even worse, they both turn out to be males, because if they both turn out to be males, they'll maul each other, and that just happens. You know, so that's one thing that I've definitely learned, and one thing that I'm definitely bringing to my hobby is making sure that I'm growing these guys on a little bit more and making sure they're a sexable and colourful size before moving them on. It's really important, and something that I am really looking forward to bringing towards my hobby at this present moment in time. So that brings me on really nicely to my Cacatoides fry that are approximately 4 weeks old now. You know, you can see they're nice growing into little fish. You know, it's really fun to watch these guys interact in such a big group. There's about 20 to 30 of these guys in here, you know, and it's really interesting to watch them. Obviously the developments, they develop at much different rates. You know, there are some that grow really fast and there are some that grow really slow. You know, and it's obviously really interesting to watch the ones that grow really fast interact with the ones that grow really slowly, as well as obviously their interaction and their feeding. You know, it's really fun to watch these guys grow out together, and I think, you know, it's gonna be really fun when they get a bit bigger. You know, I might have to potentially move them to the tank that the Apistogramma Black Chin's in, and then he would come in here with his female. That is kind of the plan once these guys get a bit bigger, because I don't want to throw those guys in there with the fish that are in there and, you know, there is some sort of altercation or whatever. So I'm just I'm ready for when these guys are big enough to move them across and give them a bit more space to grow. Now at the moment I'm on every third day water changes with these guys, just to keep the water nice and clean. And I've also put this apple snail in here. That's another new addition to the fish room this week, is these apple snails, just to kind of help clean this tank up a little bit with a bit of algae and stuff like that that started to grow. This is under the double portion of the light, which is the same as this tank here, so it gets a bit more algae than other tanks do, just because it's under the double portion of the light. And yeah, that's pretty much it for these guys this week. So the last tank that I'm going to give you guys a quick little update on this week is my Dark Knight Rams. So I've put a lot more hardscape and some more plants in this tank to give her a bit more cover. At the moment he's been really aggressive to her. Obviously, you know from last week that they had a spawn and she ate them again, and then he went absolutely psycho on her. So hopefully this will help to manage his aggression. If not, I'm thinking about moving Kaya, my female, which is in the display tank, in here with him, and moving her out for a little bit, maybe putting her in a little breeder box to help with her recovery. She seems okay. I just get a bit concerned that he's really aggressive, which he is. You know, he's a good lad, but you can see him really darkening up now because he's showing off his colours. But he's not letting her get to that stage. He's harassing her, and she's a lot smaller than he is. So we just need she might need a bit of a break. So that's maybe what we're going to do this week. Unsure at this present moment in time. I want to see if I can kind of manage that through this new layout of the tank. I may put a separator in. I can use one of these acrylic sheets that I've got to separate the tank for a little bit, just because of his aggression, which you can kind of see here at the moment, the harassing, and you know, he just wants to breed and she's just not ready. I don't think she's got enough fat stored up. The last time she was obviously really plump, and now not so much. So that's kind of where we're at with these two at this present moment in time. I'm not sure that these guys are a viable pair, which is really sad. Obviously they've had a couple of spawns now which have been unsuccessful, just purely because she's eaten them. So yeah, that's where we're at with these guys. So I made a decision based on that, the rams that I've got in that tank, that after these guys either work out or they don't, I'm going to solely concentrate on Apistos, and there's going to be no other dwarf cichlids in this room. So the rams, once they either work out or they don't, I'm going to give them another 6 weeks, and if they don't work out by then I'm going to probably put them in the main display tank, and then possibly put another pair of Apistos in their tank. Just because from a breeding point of view, I want to kind of focus on the water parameters that Apistos need, and not worry so much about the heat that obviously the rams need, and the size of the fry for rams is also much smaller, so I would have to also culture micro worms, or you know, vinegar eels or something like that, to kind of feed these guys once they lay their fry and the fry survive for a couple of days before they can get onto baby brine shrimp. So again, do I want that challenge? That's the question, and that's something that I keep mulling over in my mind. You know, comes back to obviously when I had the female bear tank before it became my Elizabethy tank. You know, I mulled over for a long time before I made that decision, and that's something that I keep mulling over at this present moment in time before I make that decision. So you know, that's just something that I'm thinking about, and maybe something that I'm going to do soon. My thoughts behind this obviously is that I have this male Vieja in here, which is he's a form of McMasterite, and he's really got some really nice colour, and potentially what I was thinking is that I can move the rams into this tank and move him and potentially one of my female McMasterite that I've got growing out at the moment into that tank, and that would be a new pairing in the fish room, and that would potentially help with managing the aggression, just due to the fact that obviously they'd have a lot more room, a lot more spaces to hide, and a lot more fish to manage the aggression on, you know, as well as having another female ram in this tank. And this tank, because of where it is in the fish room, also holds a really quite warm temperature at 27, which I think is actually fine for the rams. You know, she does absolutely fine in this tank. You know, and you can see her colour sometimes when she's showing off for some of the other fish in the tank. It's really good. Now the absolute last thing that I'm going to update you guys on is this tank here, my Apistogramma Elizabethy tank is covered in this green sludge algae. Now I've got 4 apple snails in here that have started to work on it. You can see where they've kind of been eating down there, and you know, you can see here that they've been eating off the glass. Now I'm hoping that with a week's worth of them being in here, that they would have cleaned it up quite a little bit. So they've been in here for 2 days now, and hopefully a few more days, and I'll start to see the light at the end of the tunnel when it comes to this green sludge. They've cleaned it all off the top of the filters. You know, there's been no bites out of any plants, which is really good. So that's hopefully where we're going to be at. So obviously, you know, I'm used to managing and looking after Apistos, so now we've kind of branched out a little bit into apple snails. We've obviously got the one that eats Hydra, that's in the aviaxis tank. That guy has kind of completely cleaned up the Hydra in that tank. Let me just show you him quickly. There he is there, you know, he's completely cleaned up all of the Hydra in this tank. He's eaten all of it. You know, and I'm going to move him to another tank soon that's got a little bit of Hydra on the go, just so that he can continue to eat those guys. You know, he eats pests, and you know, I'm gobsmacked by the results, to be quite honest. And the apple snails eating the algae, you know, same difference, gobsmacked with the progress that they've made. You know, I've had some in the gold ocelotus tanks as well, because that was growing some of the same green sludge algae, probably because of a little bit too much light. But the apple snail, again, I've got a massive one in there, and he's really doing a number on the algae, which is really cool. So that pretty much sums it up for another week, and if you've liked this video, make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on Instagram at adams.aquatics, and I will see you on Thursday for Fish Room Thursdays, where I'll be going through exactly what's going on in the fish room at that present moment in time. See you then.